I'm not mad at the world, darling. I'm mad at you. You are not my world. I've yet to experience what safety feels like, but I know that it exists.
Yes.
I know how my dad loves my mom. I know how my dad loves me, but there is a layer of self-worth that you have to have in order to be able to determine whether something is working or not. I met this person, and I think because I was so heartbroken and lonely, I was just like, well, you're here, so let's just do it. If I was lonely before that, I felt even more isolated being with this person because that's who detoxing is about.
Some people think if I could just find my person, then I won't feel so alone in this world. Some people actually find the right person and still feel lonely. For you, what actually got you through that lonely period? Because it wasn't a warm body beside you.
No, it was my friends. No.
What's up? Oh my gosh, summer dress.
Look hot.
So let's talk about Fall in Love with Her and the amazing body of work that you just released.
Thanks.
The amazing project that you have coming out.
Yes.
But what else are you feeling like talking about today?
I want to hone in on the one song that I feel like sums up what the project is about and who I am as a lover, as a friend.
You believe it's magic.
That would be Discouraged, which actually has my favorite lyric of the album, which is, I hope I never have to heal from you, but it's worth the chance to love you if I do.
Woo!
Period.
Woo!
Yeah, so I want to get into that. I want to talk more about that. I haven't talked about that yet.
Yes, I would love to talk about that and talking about the past, but in a way that's allowed you to come into this place you are in your future where you love your life,
Right.
You love your community, you love your friends, you love what you're doing, and you're just looking for someone to love to share this with.
Exactly. So,
Okay, well, let's add on to this conversation. This is perfect direction. Let me get you in here, take a moment. I know it's hot as hell. We got the fan going, but the air conditioning is on the inside. I promise you that. Fifth studio album?
I don't know anymore. I'm losing track. Yeah, sure, fifth. I have a
love
lot of
that.
music out, so who's counting? You know what I mean? You.
I mean, well, I guess in this case, Google, but
Right.
what's amazing about that, I think the release of numbers in general is such an evolution, whether that is age, body count, like amount of people that you've told that you love. Like there's a certain time in our lives, I think, that we're very fixated on numbers. And then it's like, okay, if I've done 5, this must mean this. If I've done 7, this has to mean that. But when you're just doing things that bring you enjoyment, that get you closer to yourself, it doesn't actually matter if it's number 2 or number 20.
I agree. And I think the thing about it is there's some sort of weird stigma when it comes to artists that if you have a certain amount of music out or a certain amount of albums and it's like a gradual build and you haven't exploded yet, then you haven't succeeded. And I just don't agree with that. Like, what else am I going to be doing? I literally make music for a living. So of course I'm going to put music out. This album, I took 2 years off of writing for myself and I was dedicating a lot of it to writing for other artists. So I was inspired, and I think that it's my favorite album I've done thus far just because of that, and also just it's so cohesive. And I wonder if it's because it's just story after story after story. A lot of it about the same person.
If it's about the same person, it really is like a journey. It is
Exactly.
2 years.
Yeah.
Because you go through the mix of the excitement of the highs, kind of the fear of the past. Then you go into trying to get over it and get through it. Then so they're the ugly. I love Worse. Is it Worse Than Me?
Yeah.
There was a line that you have in that song that I'm like, your partner saying to you that you're very negative or very judgmental of the world. And it's well, I just don't think you're the world.
Exactly. I'm not mad at the world, darling. I'm mad at you. You are not my world. And it's funny because that song specifically, I literally have text proof of these lyrics.
Because Discouraged is such a beautiful concept.
Thanks.
It's a very rich, nuanced concept. And it like sets the listener up to want to cheer. for this person. That in essence, right? Because love is opening yourself up. It's crazy. Like when
Yeah.
they say that, insanity is doing the same thing twice and expecting a different result. That's what love is.
Every time. Yeah.
You're giving of yourself, opening yourself, pouring into somebody else, even though the last time that you did that, you had a negative result.
Right.
And so I'm just curious if the person discouraged was about like, were they worth cheering for?
I'm a timid lover, especially in the talking stages, the beginning stages. I have horrible trust issues. I tend to think I'm a pessimist. I tend to think the worst constantly. I have very low expectations, and that kind of manifests in anxieties and arguing and whatever the case may be. But I was willing to try for this person, and I was willing to go through the heartaches, the inevitable heartaches, because like I said, this person was fighting a lot of demons, but he just felt worth it to me. It didn't work in the end, but I'm able to look back and I learned so much about myself and the type of love I do want and the type of love I won't accept.
Tiana Taylor recently described herself in romantic relationships as a cup of tea. And she was basically saying that, I'm not a water bottle that you could just walk in, shake it up, toss in your bag. Like, I'm a cup of tea that you have to walk with.
Yeah.
Not only because I might spill over, but I will burn you if you are too aggressive with me. And I'm like, that's a very beautiful kind of way of describing it. So for anybody else who's like more of a cup of tea lover or a timid lover, like, how do you find yourself in a situation that says, okay, I think I'm actually safe to put my guard down, even though that's the scariest thing for me?
So even in that situation, I didn't feel safe, which is why it felt like a risk. I think it's important for me. What matters is constant reassurance, constant communication. And where the anxiety builds is when I don't have that. That's just the way that I am as a person. I over communicate. I'm very intentional from the beginning. My expectations are laid out. My boundaries are laid out from the jump. And when I don't receive that, I just don't know how to manage a love like that. So I've yet to experience what safety feels like. But I know that it exists.
Yes.
Because I know that how I am in my friendships, with my family, with my coworkers, with myself, I know that I'm not an issue completely. It's like you did the 1,000-piece puzzle and these are your friends, this is your family, this is your work, this is yourself. That final one, the most important one, is like somewhere missing. And I'm still looking for it, but I know it exists. It's like part of my piece.
I just want to say that hearing you talk about music so plainly, like, what else would I be doing? Like,
Yeah.
that.
Well, seriously, literally, I have nothing else to do.
But I just mean when I heard you just now talking about the puzzle pieces, right? It's kind of an acknowledgement. I was saying this earlier, that a good life looks a little different when you kind of zoom in.
Yeah.
But I believe that the gumbo kind of has similar ingredients to it, which is a sense of purpose. Like, you're contributing to the world in a way that feels joyful for you to give,
Right.
and actually has a positive impact on the other side. It's community, it's friendships, it's providing for the next generation. That can be done via parenting, that can be done via mentorship, right? Like, just some type of action or activity that says, like, I want to leave this world a little bit better for the small people coming up in it. I believe romantic love is in that gumbo. I also believe that community is in there. And so when I'm listening to you just talk about the evidence of dream come trues that you've experienced, the evidence of loves and great loves that you've had, it's like a lot of people find their high school sweetheart and fall in love, and that part is done. But all the other things that you've been able to accomplish, right? And that sureness that you had with music, like, that is evidence to know that you could keep looking for that in love.
Wow.
Because you know what it feels like when something fits.
Exactly. Yeah, that is 100% also what keeps me going and wanting to create more. I'm highly fulfilled in my life in every other aspect. Like, I have an abundance of love. I really genuinely love my single life, and my freedom, and being able to work as much as I want, do nothing, go here, go there, be with my friends. I have amazing friends. My family's incredible. I am not needing to be in love. It would be really nice, but it's not a necessity. And I think that's why I'm not willing to settle or just tolerate something just to say that I'm in it, which I did go through that phase as well, where I went through an extremely, not too long ago, during this 2 years, lonely phase where I genuinely believe that loneliness is a disease, and it convinces us that we can tolerate more than we deserve to. And I was in that phase and I experienced what that was. And in the end, it still didn't work out. And I felt like I gave a lot of myself up to try and make it work. And I will never do that again because it's just not worth it to me. It only made my life worse. And I just feel like a love is supposed to enhance whatever you got going on. So until I find that, I'm gonna be in my own little world. And, you know, if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, I'm chilling.
Can you say more to me? Because it sounds like you were saying you were lonely and partnered at the same time.
Oh, yeah. Actually, well, so I met, this is second person that the album is about. I met this person at a really lonely time in my life. This was after the first person, the big heartbreak. And I think because I was so heartbroken and lonely, I was just like, well, you're here, so let's just do it. And I was tolerating more, like looking back at whoever that chick was, I'm like, girl, get it together, because absolutely hell no. But I was just tolerating a lot. And if I was lonely before that, I felt even more isolated being with this person, because it got to a point where it was so bad, like the emotional, I want to go as far as saying I was being mentally and emotionally abused by this person because I was in such a vulnerable state. I was just letting everything happen, everything. And I just wanted to be in something so that I just wanted to feel something. But I felt it was so much that I wasn't able to even tell my family and my friends what I was going through. It was like I was ashamed. I was embarrassed. So I was just completely isolated in this situation. And I felt if I was lonely before, girl, it was bad. It was bad. And I was dealing with it all on my own. And yeah, it was not good.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Thanks. Yeah. That's what actually detoxing, that's who detoxing is about.
Isn't that so fascinating too?
Yeah.
Because we think that we only had to detox when something was positive. Something could be killing you.
Yeah.
And
literally.
you still yearn for it.
Yes. And the way that song actually came about was because I was in my session with Nazari. And this was like months after this thing ended, and I couldn't stop thinking about it. It was consuming me, and not in a way where I missed it, but it was like, it was just everything was bottled up, the shame, the anger, the like, how could I allow myself to deal with something like that? And it was pissing me off that I was talking about it so much. And I was talking about it so much in the session. We were trying to find a concept around that, but he just like came up with the line. He was just like, you're just detoxing this person. And I had never heard someone put it so simply. And that's exactly what was happening. But yeah, it doesn't have to be something that you wish you still had that you're detoxing. It's just genuinely something that is perfectly put, something that's killing you.
What actually is the cure for loneliness, or for your loneliness? Because some people do think that, especially if they have always wanted love and they hold a torch for the idea of romantic love. And it sounds like you're a lover girl at heart. True or false?
With the right person, absolutely, yeah.
And I love that for you. Some people think if I could just find my person, then I won't feel so alone in this world. And some people actually find the right person and still feel lonely. So for you, what actually got you through that lonely period?
It was my friends. I have two amazing best friends that through it all were there. And no judgment. Like everything that I ended up telling them I was going through, even when I was in it, I was complaining and I was still in it and I wasn't leaving. They never left my side. And I think it's interesting how important female friendships are to me. Because it's almost like if I could marry my girls,
Yeah.
at this point we might as well, girl. It's like I'm like platonically in love with my best friends, and they just fulfill something in me that I thought I was looking for in like a romantic partner, but it's just like a level of intimacy that I was craving that I know that I have within my girls. And a lot of people are like, oh, well, you need to find like self-love. Girl, there's only so much self-love I can give myself. I'm lonely. What do you want me to say? Damn. But yeah, it's the girls. Like, I don't know. They make me so happy and fulfilled that I think, once I was finally out of that and I gave myself some time to be just alone with my thoughts and whatever, and then I would be with them, and we in a group chat every day, la la la. Yeah, I was just like, oh wait, I actually being with somebody romantically is more exhausting than not. So I would say it's my girls if I think about it.
I think 1,000%.
Yeah, like I love myself. Don't get me wrong, but again, only so much self-love, girl. Only so much. I feel like that's kind of, sorry to interrupt, but like it can be a toxic mindset to kind of force onto people about the self-love thing.
Oh, say more.
Unlike in the West, where they believe that when there is a natural calamity like famine or flood or earthquakes, that it is the wrath of the gods.
Empowerment, it's interesting. I think women are always chasing something.
In ancient India, they believed that it's because the earth had forgotten her pleasure. And she has to be reminded what it feels like to have the sap run through her veins, to have the flowers blossom on her branches.
You're chasing fitness, you're chasing fertility, you're chasing adoration, you're chasing respect. The modern woman is still chasing empowerment.
Because once her pleasure is in place, once she can feel her pleasure, all is right with the world.
And I feel like she doesn't have to run unless she likes it. But I feel like you can stay still and be empowered and be sensual.
The pleasure of the woman is what creates the balance of the universe.
It can be a toxic mindset to kind of force onto people about the self-love thing.
Oh, say more.
Well, I agree. Self-love is extremely important, but I don't think that it is the cure for everything. And I don't think we should be ashamed that it's not the cure for certain things. Like, again, I love being alone. I love doing my own thing. I'm hyper independent, all the while still being extremely lonely. So what about the self-love part am I missing? But I think telling people, oh, you just need to learn to love yourself. No, I love myself. I don't think you understand how much I love. Matter of fact, just go on my Instagram. I love myself. Still lonely though, so you tell me. I don't know. But yeah.
I mean, it tracks from like a evolutionary perspective because in the wild, we have no semblance of a chance of survival alone.
Right.
Like we suck.
Right.
So we require cooperation.
Just human nature.
Yeah.
So yeah, I totally agree. I like my little pack.
And there's this thing, I think it's a scale essentially of connection, right? And it goes like almost like an onion where there's like a center and then there's all these other outer layers to like what makes up community, what makes up a sense of feeling connected. There's something called the mesosystem, which is like the world around you, the immediate, most important world around you that makes you genuinely feel connected. And it's not like romantic love, parents, friendships, like they're all in the same circle.
Yeah.
Like there's no one that's any more greater or lesser than the other. So that's actually something that I learned kind of the hard way recently, wherein, I had filled up a lot of the circles that you're supposed to check off in boxes and didn't have genuine female friendships. Mm-hmm. And I felt like a deep sense of emptiness.
Interesting, yeah.
And I remember I went out with an old friend of mine who invited me out. And literally, I came back like I just had the best dick of my life. Like so lit up and charged up and excited. And I was telling my husband about it. I was like, yo, I had the best night. And it was like I was spilling over with giddiness, all the things that we ascribe to how you feel after falling in love with somebody.
Yeah.
But falling into friendship, I think, is like deeply overlooked.
I agree. And it actually took me years to find the friendships that I have now. And a lot like how I am in relationships, I am also not just friends with everybody. I'm intentional about my friendships as well. My circle is very tight, but very mighty. We are insane, and they just get me on a level that I don't think any man will ever understand. If they do, God bless them. But the power of female friendships, like, I can't even explain how much brighter my world has gotten. And also my friends are just we are each other's biggest cheerleaders. There's no sense of competition. We are together through everything. And we don't feed each other's delusions, which I kind of appreciate. Sometimes I'm just like, damn, you couldn't. But we don't feed each other's delusions. We're very straightforward, and we just want the best for each other. And I just, there's like a level of trust with my friends that I've never experienced in any relationship or any other thing. That it's important. It's helped me grow as a woman. I've evolved because I am friends with the girls that I have in my life. So I encourage you to find that. But it is really difficult to find. For some reason, we just be competitive and weird, and I don't know. Maybe I've had weird experiences, but when you do find those few, it could be one. It's life-changing for sure.
Oh my gosh, you're like living in a dream come true. For me, like
No.
watching and listening to you and the way that you're lighting up feels like getting to manifest through you. Like, oh, like I hope in 2 years I'm like sitting where you're sitting, saying exactly what you just said.
I hope so too.
So thank you for that.
I hope so too.
I actually kind of want to circle back to something that you said that I'm like, oh, that's kind of a big win. That the relationship that you were talking about on this album, or one of them, was within a 3-month span. Because sometimes that's even the win. To get the feelings, go to the depths, learn the lesson, and be like, check, please. Not to need 3 years of that torture. And to look back and say, I don't regret it, but also that's because I didn't stay in this for much longer than I needed to.
Right.
But do you think a part of the big difference is now you're not approaching love from a place of loneliness because you do have a circle of trust and friendship and community around you?
Yeah. Well, the thing is, despite that one horrible experience that I had with the person that I claim mentally abused me, I feel that way regardless. I'm just the type of, and this is where the self-love aspect comes into play, because I'm not willing, I will try. I give myself 3 months every single time. And if by the 3rd month, this ain't working, I gotta go. But I will say, it does help to leave when you have a circle of people like your 2 girls. That kind of like the embarrassment of going back to this person, it like plays a part in your conversations. You're like, she's like, you texting back? I said, yes, girl. So having those people in your corner, and maybe they're not judging, they're not like forcing you or making you feel bad to like get out of something, but they're just like, girl, I think it's time. Even having that helps. But there is a layer of self-worth that you have to have in order to be able to determine whether something is working or not. Because I have been in situations where I want it to work so bad. I'm like, well, let me give it a little bit more. No, girl. Just look at it for what it is. It's not working. But sometimes there's just like, I don't know, a trauma bond, or you're just so invested emotionally that you're like, well, maybe if I give it another week, another month, and then it happens to be 3 years later, that's where it gets tricky. But yeah, having some sort of discernment and self-worth, and maybe people in your life that you're embarrassed to tell you're still dealing with this person would help. Yeah.
But I think the answer key too of like, if I can't describe the person that I'm spending this much time with the same way I describe my friends, there's got to be a problem.
Oh,
There's this
100%.
girl who was saying to me that, you know, because when you're often in these emotionally abusive, mentally abusive relationships, there's mind manipulation happening, right? There is gaslighting and there's reality denial. So you don't necessarily even know what's up from down anymore. And so she was saying she was in this relationship with somebody where they kept telling her, like, I'm treating you better than you deserve. I love you more than anybody else does. I'm giving you more than you should be getting. You should be grateful for what you're experiencing, even though their feelings didn't match up with that person's words. That person also knew enough about them to sort of weaponize their insecurities.
Yeah.
And she's like, I actually went home for Christmas break and my mom was like, I need you to go through our photo albums and organize them, because there's some kind of family reunion coming up. And she's like, I was annoyed by the task, but I went into the garage, I start organizing the photos, and I'm like, oh yeah, I do remember this moment, 5 years ago. I do remember seeing my aunt and uncle kiss and what that looked like. I do remember when my mom lost her job, how my dad stepped up for her. She's like, I actually do know what it feels like to be loved. I actually do know what love and connection and respect looks like. And because I have this answer key and proof, I can go back to the person and tell them, like, here's the evidence. Like, I'm actually not crazy. This is not it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think also for me, I was raised and still have an incredible relationship with my father. Also, pretty much every single man in my family is A+, like a model of what I would want my partner to be, but specifically my father, which is why I don't be telling him a lot of what I be going through, because he'd be like, girl. But I have an example that I always go back to. I know how my dad loves my mom. I know how my dad loves me and how he loves everyone around him, my brother, my uncles, my grandfather. I know what that feels like. I know how a man is supposed to love me or a woman. So I think that also plays a huge role in the decisions that I make. By the end of it, I'm like, but to go back to the manipulation thing, that is so real, which is why I say if I look back on the girl that I was dealing with this, I'm in shock. But the girl dealing with that was the reality thing, so real. You just totally lose sight of what's true, what's false. Am I this? Are you this? Am I the problem? And it's so many questions, and you're in this like confused state, and they like see you're confused and they're like, yes, and they keep going. So real. So I have been there. However, my dad, my girls, my self-worth has helped me, thank you, Jesus, snap me out of that. Ideally, it would happen much sooner, maybe like a weekend. 3 months is a long time. When you're in it, it feels like 10 years. But yeah, 100% everything you said, yes.
I just love that because I love what discouraged represents. I come from a track background, and you can't get to your personal best without running your hardest.
Yeah.
You're never going to get better at running unless you run your hardest, even the races that you lose. So there is a truth of that when it comes to love too. Like, you have to actually do the thing and do it at your absolute potential. And even if you fall short of winning the prize, you still are able to say, oh, like, I learned my capacity to love in these circumstances. I learned this about myself. I liken this a lot because I had this conversation with a bunch of guys who are basically like, like purposefully being fuckboys. And the whole thought process is, well, eventually, if I meet the right person, I'll just wake up and I'll be a great partner. I'm like, that's kind of equivalent to wanting to get to the NBA, not really practicing, not playing with the best players, not playing to the best of your ability, and just expecting when you get that call from the scout, you'll show up to tryouts and kill it. So I think what discouraged represents is what is like the hardest, most fucked up part about love is that You only get to the happily ever after through excruciating disappointment and loss. And there will be a time where you're going to be so glad that you went through those.
Yeah.
Not just because it made you who you are and all the other cheesy stuff, but because like you got to see a really cool, tender part of yourself. You got to sing certain songs. Like Worst of Me is a song that hit for me because I've been there before. And as much as it didn't feel good to go through that, there's something kind of joyful of knowing that I did.
Yeah.
And so I guess what I'm trying to say, long story short, is I kind of want everybody to take on that discouraged mentality. But I don't know if that's good advice or not.
I think, again, it should be intentional. And I think not everyone is worth that level of intensity. At least that's how I see it. Not everyone is worth my intensity. But I do believe that if you're going to try, you should try your hardest, despite the outcome. Because also, when you inevitably, and I say that optimistically, inevitably find exactly what you're looking for, whatever that may be, all of the experiences that you went through that weren't up to par will help you to appreciate when you actually find the thing it is that you're looking for. But I wouldn't know it's right if I didn't know it was wrong, if that makes sense. So it's all important. And I don't think that's bad advice. I just think do it while also choosing carefully. Because, I don't know what's going on with the dating pool, but everybody's playing games. I'm not trying to just give myself to somebody who's trying to play games. We got to be somewhat on the same level of like, we both want to try, kind of, at least.
Yes.
You know what I mean? If you're showing me you're putting in some effort, whether it's toxic or not, whatever, then I'm going to put in effort. I'm going to do my best. You do your best. If it works out, it works out. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But these guys that are just, out here wilding, I'm not talking about those. I'm talking about the ones that are actually trying to look for something. Give it your best.
There's a debate happening on TikTok right now about coffee dates. And in general, like, should you go on coffee dates? Is it lowering your standards? But I think I had a discussion about it. Like, to me, what's kind of underneath that is, why are we trying to confine getting to know your potential love of your life partner, fuck buddy, next great love story, whatever, to like 7 minutes or less, 12 minutes or less? Like, if you're going to do it, then give somebody the time to actually ease into the moment with you.
So you're saying you're anti-coffee dates?
I feel like, yeah, because if you're going to do it, if you're going to spend the
That's what I
time.
think about how short a coffee date would be.
Right.
Because I'm like, I'll take a latte.
Yeah, I do love me a
latte.
chai tea latte.
Right.
But I also
But, yeah, I see what you
acknowledge that, and maybe in like our unique professions, you might be really skilled at opening up to people very fast. It's your job to be on camera and be as magnetic and incredible as you are in a short span of time. Most people don't have to like acquire that skill. So they're just a little awkward for the first 20 to 30
100%.
minutes.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Some people, it's the first 3 dates. So I like your 3-month rule.
Right. But then I'm thinking you go to dinner with somebody that's awkward, and then you got to go through the whole 3 courses, and you're just like, I'm dying to get out of here. So it could go both ways. Like, that person I would want to get a coffee with, but then somebody I'm getting coffee with that I'm vibing with, I'm like, you should have taken me to dinner. I don't know. It's all circumstantial, I guess. But I love me an iced latte, so I'll take the coffee.
But there are probably some people that you got to the ordering and the first course, and you're like, get me out of here. And by dessert, you're like, oh, there's another layer to this that I didn't know initially. So I kind of love the advice of like, if you're going to do it and put the effort in, just do it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
your
right.
time might get wasted. There's definitely things you can put in there to protect yourself, because
Right.
time isn't infinite. But yeah, what does it matter if it's your 5th studio album or your 5th date for the week? Like, setting that intention aside of like, I'm not trying to do this half-ass or half-heartedly. Like, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to actually be here and be present for it.
100%. I agree.
I'm not going to ask you to sing in closing, which I always regret that I don't ask people to sing. So I'm not asking you to sing, but I'm just like, if you'd like to. But what I will ask you to do is there a line from that song in particular that for you perfectly encapsulates what the lesson is, what the lived lesson is?
I think it's really, I hope I never have to heal from you, but it's worth the chance to love you if I do. And that just kind of sums up this whole conversation of there might be a risk. There is a risk every single time. Friendships, work relationships, intimate relationships, getting to know people is a risk if you're super protective of your emotions as I am. But on the other side of it, or during it, it can be one of the most healing. It's funny, you can heal yourself through that, even if you have to heal from that afterwards. But during the experience, there are things that you're learning about yourself inevitably that heal you enough to move on to the next thing that will hopefully be even better than what you experienced before. So yeah, I think that's the line that kind of sums up the album. It sums up who I am as a person and as a lover, as a friend, as everything. And I think it's pretty good. I think it's a bar, if you ask me.
It is a bar.
Thanks.
Well, speaking of risks, you took a really big risk on yourself creatively for this one too.
I have a short film coming out, and it's not the type of film that has music embedded in it, and it's like music video after music video. It is a full dialogue narrative based off of the concept of what the album is about, which is it's a story about an artist. It's vaguely based off of my life. Story about an artist who essentially prioritizes her career above all. Even when meeting the love of her life, she decides to choose her career over staying with this person because they don't see eye to eye necessarily. They have very different dreams, very different views of what their future looks like. So I'm starring in it, but my best friend wrote it, produced it, and is starring in it. Her husband directed it, so it's a family affair. But the music videos are extensions of that short film. So the music videos are all out. The last piece is the short film, but what makes it so special is that it's the same cast. Like in the music videos, it's the same cast as the film. And when you watch the film, you can kind of, at the right moment, pause it and insert the music video, and the story is all one, if that makes sense. I've never done something like that. The planning for it was so tedious and so long. I did a lot of it with my best friend. But I'm just so proud of it. I'm also in my acting bag, okay? Listen. So I'm happy, I'm excited for that to come out. But yeah, I've never done something like that. And now I'm just like, damn, do I have to do that for every album? I've like raised my standard for my visuals, but maybe I get a big old hit and then I could just disappear with all my money. But no, I'll keep making music, fine. What else am I gonna do?
Cheers, girl. Thank
so
you.
Much.
I'm gonna give you a fist cheers. Sabrina, thank you for your vulnerability and sharing your detoxing process with us. Sabrina's album, Fall in Love with Her, is out now. Go run it up wherever you stream. And her short film, inspired by it, is coming out soon. To stay up to date, follow her on socials on Instagram at Sabrina Claudio and her website, sabrinaclaudio.co. Now, if this conversation inspired a thought or feeling that you just couldn't put into words, I think you're really going to enjoy this class about what makes a life well loved based on Bronfenbrenner's ecological systems theory. What's up, lovers?
Hello, everybody.
I'm so incredibly excited about this class because I feel like every time that I sit down with an incredibly talented, very cool, usually 20-something woman, I have this same conversation.
This is like my third serious relationship, so I was like, this is the one. They say the first one is love, the second one is trial and error, and the third one is it.
Yeah.
So I was just like, oh, I'm done. I want like a family. I want to be married. I want children, you know? Oh no, shit. I said I wasn't. Am I pretty?
You're so beautiful.
No, but it's just that reality consistently. It's just that consistent reality of like, no matter how much I talk, I'm still not where I want to be, you know? And it's like, two things can be true. I'm doing great in my career, but like I still want that other side. And I think I always want that other side is because of where I'm from.
There is somebody on a different podcast in this exact same moment who has the white picket fence in the family and doesn't know herself. She has all these unrealized dreams. She has forgotten to even ask herself what matters to her. And she's crying because she's like, how am I ever going to find my purpose in the world? How will I ever find community? How will I ever find the thing that lights me up? I think that we put this bizarre pressure for things to happen in a certain order, but I just want to acknowledge all the ways that you've made dreams come true for yourself, that you have made historical dream come trues for yourself.
Thank you.
The fact that you're in the probably top 1% of podcasters, and you're doing it with somebody who loves you and who cares for you, and that's a healthy relationship. That was one of the things you wanted to talk about. You're like, oh, like, I know friendship inside and out. And today's class, I hope, is a reframe for all of us of what it looks like to have a life well loved. So before we dive into that, I'm curious if anyone got a chance to listen to the episode. Any takeaways?
It was a new artist for me. Now I know she's not new, but for me, it was a new introduction. So I went and checked out her music. Oh my goodness, her voice is amazing. I was like blown away, literally. And I guess what I took away, I usually write down what I took away. So two things. The first was her conversation on love with her partner or with her friends, excuse me, the platonic level of love that she feels that cannot be replaced for anything else. And how she went even deeper when she was speaking about the aspect of how we as a society use the term, oh, all you need is self love. Well, self love is not all you need. And she wants to change the narrative on that. And I was so happy to hear that because that is such a rare perspective.
Yeah, I thought about like that whole idea of like needing love. I know she talked about that as like, no, I want to be in love, but like I don't need to be in love.
I I can have multiple layers of love from different people in different ways. And that is acceptable as well. And that is how you, I guess, create your love family or love tree, however you want to see it. That's what I really appreciated about it.
Well, go on, guys, and just teach the class, why don't you? Because this is literally exactly what it is that we're talking about today. We're talking about a life well loved. And this is a theory that I learned in school that first and foremost, can I just say how excited I am to say new resource alert. This is our brand new Lovers Ecological Map. Let me see if my camera will cooperate with me here. And Yancy and I worked hard on this yesterday, and it's something that really did came from my spirit and soul, but it's not something, I learned it scholastically. It's inspired by Bronfenbrenner's ecological map, which is usually utilized for children and a way to describe the kind of environment that kids need and the consideration that kids need when we think about childhood development. But when we talk about adult development, as we know, there can tend to be less focus on that, but I found that the basis of Bronfenbrenner's map was good, just some of the details weren't updated for an adult life. I just have a question if anyone wants to raise hands on this, but has anyone's feed lately been anti-romance? Have you come across posts or articles that just talk about people not needing romantic love anymore? Number one, there was an article recently in Vogue that was called, Is Having a Boyfriend Embarrassing? And I've seen multiple articles that talk about the rise of people who are single. Amanda raised their hand for that. I don't know if anybody has Scott Galloway on their feed. Scott Galloway is an NYU professor who talks a lot about how romantic love generally benefits men, but may not be as essential for women.
A woman in her 30s who doesn't have romantic love, it's like the greatest tragedy ever. You know, poor Lisa never found romantic love, and now she's in her 40s and she has cats. What a tragedy. Guess what? Lisa's just fine. All of the research shows the following. Men need and benefit from relationships much more than women. Widows are happier after their husband dies. True. This is true. Women do live longer in relationships. They live 2 to 4 years longer. Men live 4 to 7 years longer. If a man hasn't cohabitated with a woman or been married by the time he's 30, there's a 1 in 3 chance he'll be a substance abuser. When women don't have a romantic relationship, oftentimes pour a lot of that energy back into their friend network and their professional lives. When men don't have a relationship, they pour a lot of that energy back into online content, nationalism, misogyny, anti-immigration. They start blaming other people for their problems.
Women age better emotionally. They build deeper friendships, they have richer community and networks, they have healthier self-regulation. Men are often only taught there's 2 valid emotions, which is stoicism, nothingness, and anger. They're not given the opportunity to have the same richness of emotions, right? Many of these words are going to be familiar to women because they're expressions or taught growing up. We've talked about before within the community self-expansion theory, and that just speaks to the human need to strive while we're alive. So romantic love can provide a unique opportunity for 360 intimacy that also allows you to have an opportunity for accomplishment, because through romantic love, we can be introduced to new family members, through our lovers' family members that can start to feel like our own. Through romantic love, many people, and we know this from, probably observation, that many men in particular can actually rely on romantic love to have an outer community. I mean, for some people, it can be the cheat code. For others, like I said, being able to build these individual pillars by yourself can mean all the difference. This class is far from being anti-romance. I think what it really is an anti-narrow definition of love. And the way that I think about love is like a gumbo. And a gumbo is a soup where there really is no starring character. So what we're talking about in particular, for anybody who is new to the community, this is our brand new Lovers Ecological Map. And this is inspired by our Lovers Lifestyle, which are now the 8 pillars, I since added one more, that I believe make up a rich, loving life. And this is something that, again, scholastically I stumbled upon in terms of Bronfenbrenner's ecological map, but personally I stumbled upon after I got to a place where I checked all the boxes of what a Western person should have in order to have a full and accomplished life. I had a family, a nuclear family at that was healthy and that made me happy and that I did feel a deep connection to. I had the material things that we're told that we need in order to feel successful, and yet I felt deeply isolated. I still felt lonely. I still felt like there was something missing. And I found myself in this very bizarre limbo between being maxed out and empty at the same time. This is where the class is going to end. Now, if you would be intrigued to hear the rest of it, no sweat, you can actually attend live tapings of full classes just like this for free by going to loversbyshan.com/community. If you enjoy this class and want even more value, well, that's when you can come into the full access community. And again, you can learn more about that at loversbyshan.com/community.